Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over my video game controller collection, 2024 edition. And guess what? I remembered the Wii U this time. If you saw my console collection video that I did, you would know that I forgot about the Wii U till I was like wrapping up that video, so I apologize. But look, I remember the Wii U now. See, I'm a real Nintendo fan. But yeah, we're gonna be going over all the controllers that I have, and then I think we'll start off in chronological order of when I first got these controllers. So yeah, let's just get right into it, shall we? So first up here, we got the Wii remote. Now, I believe in the last year's controller video, I believe I had the Wii nunchuck with me as well. Or maybe I put that in the accessories video. Well, either way, I do sadly don't have the nunchuck anymore. I had to sell it along with another Wii remote that we had. We had a spare Wii remote, and that's because multiplayer and then the Wii U and all that stuff. But we had to sell our Wii to afford like an Xbox and a PS5. So yeah, and with that Wii, it came with the nunchuck. So I don't have a nunchuck with me right now. I only have this Wii remote. But I do want to re-get a nunchuck soon. Maybe ask my mom. I don't know, but we'll see. But I do want to get it because a lot of games actually do require it, and I do want to continue playing those games like Xenoblade on the Wii, even though it is far and away the inferior version compared to Definitive Edition on Switch. But that's besides the point. The Wii remote, as you can tell, this is the Wii Motion Plus inside, edition, and it still works really well. This might be the Wii remote. We just randomly picked the Wii remote, but I don't know if one of them or both of them had a problem. But like, the speaker was starting to wore out. It didn't sound that good, so I decided to turn off the speaker for at least one of the Wii remotes, maybe both. I don't remember. So yeah, that kind of sucks. But besides that, everything still works pretty well with this Wii remote. It still plays things really well on the Wii. And you could turn it on the side and look, it's like an NES controller with more buttons. And I really like this controller. It's nostalgic and it works really well. It does suck that there's no joystick here, but that comes with the nunchuck, which is a separate thing. But most of the time they come equipped with both the Wii remote and a nunchuck. So so yeah, I really like this controller. Obviously, it's not by any means traditional, but I just love the nostalgia factor. So yeah. And next up, we got the Wii U gamepad, which kind of controversial for multiple reasons. It's a big, heavy. Lots of people think there's too much junk crammed into it, and I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, there is a lot of stuff put in this gamepad that most of it is not necessary, and that raised the price for the Wii U more than it should. That's just one of the problems with the Wii U. Along with many other things like the marketing, all that stuff. But overall, I actually do like this controller. I never really had that many issues with it, besides it being too big. I've had some issues more recently, but they're all been cleared up completely. Back in 2021, 2022, around that time, I was starting to play Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, and for some reason, specifically with Wind Waker, but sometimes Twilight Princess, the gamepad would say, "Oh, it's not connected to the Wii U." It would lose connection with the Wii U system or whatever. I don't know why. It was a weird error message that I don't know why it happened, but and with Twilight Princess, it was only once or twice, and it stopped happening there. And I don't know if it would happen if I played Wind Waker again, but it was weird either way. And then with Xenoblade X, I had a separate problem where I couldn't, like, it was very glitchy, the joystick, with when I was moving in the game, but only that game. No other game, no other like 3D game, like, Twilight Princess, it worked fine, like the movement, but it was weird only for Xenoblade X. But more recently, I've gone back to play the game a few times, Xenoblade X on the Wii U with this gamepad, and there's no issues. So again, I have no idea what happened there. I feel like it was a glitch within the games for some reason, not the system, because I take good care of the system. I'm one of the few people that really like the Wii U. I take good care of it. I don't just shove it into like a closet and then forget about it. I still use it quite a bit. I wish I could use it more, but yeah. So next up, we got the Joy-Cons here. The Joy-Cons are another controversial thing, and I think a lot of the cases are justified. Joy-Con drift is one thing, it's a bit too small for people's hands, for most people at least. There's a bunch of issues with it. But personally, even though, yes, those are big issues. In fact, I've had multiple Joy-Cons or even Switch systems, like, the Switch Lite, which doesn't have removable Joy-Con, because it's attached to the system. I've had multiple consoles come with like Joy-Con drift, and it's so annoying, especially for those Switch Lites. And yeah, that sucks. Don't get me wrong, but here's the thing. I think these are fine controllers. They're not like a masterpiece or anything. In fact, we're gonna be talking about the Switch Pro controller. That controller is amazing, but I don't think these are that bad, besides the issues they do have. Like, they work decently well, to play them, like kind of like a Wii Remote and Nunchuck. I think they work really well like that. But the beauty with these controllers is that they could be used in many different ways, like the Wii style, but it could also be used in like a handheld style, which I use it commonly for playing in handheld mode, and they work pretty well. But I also use it, for Switch Sports, and I do use it in the Wii style, and that works well. And then you could turn it to the side for like Mario Kart or other multiplayer stuff. And I think there's like a lot of, the Joy-Cons are kind of they have a variety of uses, and I think that's really cool. And I never found them to be too small for my hands. Every reviewer or YouTuber, whatever, always complains about their giant hands for some reason. I never have that problem, really. I mean, look at my hand. I guess it's a bit bigger than the Joy-Con, but I never thought it was like too small, I guess. Of course, there are issues with the Joy-Con, and I'm not defending Nintendo. They need to fix the Joy-Con drift. And also, I don't like how small these sticks are. Like, compare it to, we'll talk more about this in a bit, but like, look at the sticks. Look how, like, you could make them go a really long distance with this stick. Now there are like Joy-Con alternatives that have like that stick and also have like, less Joy-Con drift, though I don't think it's guaranteed. But they cost money, obviously cheaper than regular Joy-Cons, but these Joy-Cons come with a bunch of features that I think are worth it. So yeah, but I think the Joy-Cons get a little bit too much hate, but at the same time I understand. But this controller barely gets any hate, and for good reason. The Switch Pro controller. This controller is fantastic. It has everything that the Joy-Con has, but it's a more comfortable controller. Even though I don't have a problem with the Joy-Cons, even putting them in the grip thing, I think they're fine. But this is far and away better. Obviously, this feels like a normal, regular controller, and it feels great to use in the hands. I've never had any issues with joystick drift. I guess not Joy-Con drift, but apparently some people have had some issues with joystick drift, but I never have. I've had like 2 controllers in my life, and one I used for what, like 6 years. This is a newer controller. I sold the old one, but I never had any issues with that one. This is like a minor thing, really, but the only quote-unquote issue I had with these with these Pro controllers was that they do get a bit dirty to my liking. They get dirty, like, on the sides, like, they get, like, not crust, I don't know, it gets dirty, and, like, I have to clean it, you know. Well, I don't have to clean it. There's really no issue with just leaving it there. Maybe it would get worse if I left it there, but I do clean it because of my, like, OCD, autism, all that stuff. But it is a little bit annoying, but at the same time, that's literally the only thing I could complain about. It's not even really the Pro controller's fault. I would guess maybe it's the area where I put it in, you know, where I leave it to, like, charge or just leave it there. That's another thing. This battery lasts a long time with the Pro controller. Even the Joy-Cons, they last really good. So yeah, I'm really happy with the Pro controller. Good controller. Yeah. Next up, we got the PS5 controller, which is one of the new controllers I got along with the new consoles. You know, the first time I got a PS5 and Xbox was last year, and I really like this controller a whole bunch. It might be my favorite controller. The PS5 controller is basically like a better Switch Pro controller, in my humble opinion. The Switch Pro controller looks like a mix between the PS5 controller and the Xbox controller, even though this did come out later, you know. But it's clear Sony, they took a lot of inspiration from the Switch's Pro controller, like with the HC Rumble, though they call it haptic feedbacks here. And of course, they kept their features from the PS4 and other PlayStation consoles, like, you know, having a mic, which is really good for recording videos, you know, and having the touchpad here, which I love, even though it's not used that much in games besides being a big old pause and select buttons. But I do like the option being here, you know, and I think it looks really good and futuristic. So yeah, again, I think this might be my favorite controller. It feels really well. It is a little bit weird to at first to, like, you know, jump in between, like, specifically the Switch and PS5 controllers, because, you know, the joysticks are down here, but it is far and away pretty easy. It is way easier to tell what's the difference and what button to push than the Switch controller and the Xbox controller, where I have, because they're so similar, those two, and how they look, and, like, the buttons are all messed up, so I accidentally push A on, like, the Switch, but it's actually the X button or something, you know, like, the buttons are all mixed up. That's what my point is. But I never really, besides the first time I played with a PS5 controller, I never really had that issue with, like, the Switch or even the Xbox controllers. It's only between those two, but never between, like, these two or, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, I really like this controller. It might be my favorite one. And last, but kind of least, actually, we got the Xbox controller. This is... Okay, I know lots of people do like this controller, and I kind of like it too. It is the default basic controller that, you know, it works. It works perfectly fine. It's serviceable. There's no added bells and whistles to it, but I think that's what kind of makes it boring. Honestly, this is like the weaker of the two controllers. This doesn't have, like, much, you know, feedback. There's a little bit, but, like, barely. There's no motion controls, you know. There's, like, so many things that are not in this controller, and it's very basic. And I also don't like the fact that like, the D-pad is a little bit weird. I don't know how to feel about it. I prefer the Switch Pro controller's D-pad. And then, like, the buttons are all mixed up, you know, so it's really hard to jump back between these consoles. You know, I accidentally push A again, and it's B, or I push X and it's Y, and it's just so annoying, and I hate that. But you know, it is a fine controller. I like the texture. It feels really good. And I do play this often just because, you know, on Game Pass, Persona 3 Reload is on there. And it does feel good with this controller, though I did wish, you know, there was like more features. Like I kind of wish sometimes I would be playing it on a PS5 just because of that controller. In fact, I would rather play most games on a PS5 because of the controller and also the trophies. Achievements are cool on the Xbox, you know, but the controller, you know, is part of the reason why I would rather play PS5 games if I have the option on there instead of here, unless they're available on Game Pass or something, and only on Game Pass, or at least first on Game Pass, you know. But yeah, this is obviously still a good controller. And yeah, it is funny to think about how I already said this before, but how the Switch Pro controller is basically a mix between the Xbox and the PlayStation controller. So yeah, yeah, I hope they do more with this controller in the future. There were like leaks or whatever from the FTC thing or whatever about Xbox doing like a upgraded controller and also a digital Xbox Series X, but I believe they changed how what they're planning to do is not confirmed yet, but like their plans for the Xbox Series X digital, it basically looks like just like a white Xbox Series X. It doesn't look like the model from the document, and I don't know if the updated controller is still coming out. It would be neat because that does actually have haptic feedback, and I believe even motion controls. I don't know if they're still doing that. Even if they are, I would probably not be able to afford it because I'm poor, you know, so I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna be it for the controller collection video, 2024 edition. I hope you enjoyed watching. Let me know, what is your favorite controller out of all of these? I think even though I do love the PS5 controller a lot, and I think it might be my favorite, you know, the Switch Pro controller, you know, it's just so good, and it's a mix between the two. But you know, I have nostalgia for also the Wii remote, and the Wii U gamepad. So I don't know, but let me know what you think. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, play some Xenoblade, and I'll catch you guys next time for more. Peace. Bye, everyone.